Hello and welcome to the Loco Leeds football channel with my official Facebook group partner, Leeds Plus. Guys, I've got a wonderful guest here on the fanview today. YouTube celebrity, this guy is one of my biggest mentors and somebody who put the Loco Leeds football channel together and put that thought process in my head. It's the one and only Benjamin Bloom. Ben, welcome to the fanview. One of your creations, shall we say?
I can only let you down after that introduction, can I? There's no possibility of living up to that. No, very kind of you to say. I'm very happy to be here. Love to talk football. Love to talk Leeds as well.
Yes, why not? I mean, look, it's been a cracking season, and the international break has just soured us Leeds fans a little bit. I don't know whether you've seen anything on social media. We've got Kalvin Phillips in the England team at the moment, so let's get straight into it and talk about Kalvin's performances for England. I think he's done really well. The media think other things. I don't know. Other fans of other clubs think other things, but I think football, because we've been, shall we say, because we've had the Marcelo Bielsa effect at Leeds United, that kind of football is unique, and it's only unique to our players. So when I see other teams, we almost have this thing that, oh my word, it's not Leeds United, it's not Bielsa football. And watching England play, I don't think it really works for Kalvin Phillips' game. Southgate's got a different system compared to the system that we play at Leeds. I mean, yesterday I saw Phillips playing in a CAM position.
Much further forward, wasn't he?
Much further forward. I've never seen him play in that central attacking midfield role. And so I think it's something that we need to get used to as Leeds fans. But, it's not bringing out the best in him. What's your thoughts, Ben?
Oh God, it's great topic. My head was like exploding when you were saying it. So much to say on that. So first of all, there's the obvious tension, and this is not just Leeds, between every club and international. And I mean, so not only is Leeds' style unique, but Phillips' position within that framework is almost the key player in that framework, isn't it? You've seen Bielsa switch around players, and fullbacks go here, and Dallas ends up in central midfield, and Klitsch ends up here, there, and the wingers swap. But the one player that really is key to staying in that position is Phillips. So I think there's a few things at play there. I think there's the fact that it is unique, as you pointed out, and the fact that Phillips is almost the key player in the system. Look, no one else is going to play like Leeds do, and an international team certainly is not going to, because just, we all saw it when Bielsa came in. That first game was against Stoke, wasn't it? And you're like, Jesus, what have they been doing on the training ground? These guys must be on drugs. What's going on? This is insane. They're gonna be done by about September. So no one else can play like that. I think, and I speak as a neutral, obviously, I'm not a Leeds fan. I think you need to be, if you are a Leeds fan, a little bit patient with it, and have in the back of your head that England are not going to play their entire system through Kalvin Phillips. They're just not. It's not going to work in that manner. And when you've got a Harry Kane up top, who's a really big name, and Foden and Grealish and all of these other players, it's going to be not that Leeds are in any way overly reliant on Phillips. It's a philosophy as a whole, but it was very interesting yesterday because I was getting very irritated, Jinder, with all of these comments coming in about, Southgate's negative, blah, 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 2 defensive midfielders. And I'm like, wait and see what happens. And if they sit in front of the back four the entire game and don't cross the halfway line, then I will say but you're totally right. It was almost quite close to a 4-1-4-1 that Bielsa does play. And then I can imagine all the Leeds fans screaming, hang on a minute, stick Rice further forward and drop Phillips in, because he literally has been doing it brilliantly for 2.5 seasons. But we should all be very proud of Phillips and his rise and how he uses the ball. Ultimately, I've done a video on it today. I've literally got the last 4 England squads written on a pad in front of me. So
brilliant.
Ultimately, he may not even start, because if Jordan Henderson is fit, it might be Henderson and Rice. And I have done a video on this. I'm not just blowing smoke because it's Leeds. I like Henderson and Phillips as a pair. I think they can do all the requisite defensive things, and they just have a little bit more as a pair in terms of progressing that ball up to Foden and Mount and whoever. So yeah, it's really interesting. But you should, all you Leeds fans should be really proud of Phillips. And yes, he might not be doing exactly what he normally does, but what a rise, and how great to have a player in that England starting 11.
It is. I mean, it's the first one we've had since David Batty, and David Batty used to get a lot of stick from opposition fans. We could only pass sideways, but you know what it is. If you flip it over, I mean, do you remember a player called Dunga for Brazil?
Yeah,
He used to be the same sort of
Dunga
player.
And Mauro Silva. They just sat there, didn't they? Yeah.
So you have to have these kind of players who play the not pretty stuff. They're not the creative stuff. But
fans don't notice it, do they?
Yeah, but they're the first ones on the team sheet, and they're the ones that really make your side click. Because they are the engine, and the midfield is an engine room. And like I said, with Bielsa's play, it's really brought Kalvin Phillips into another. He's improved a lot under Bielsa, a lot like our players. I mean, I followed your show, because you do this lovely championship show where you cover all teams in the championship, because you're an Ipswich Town fan, aren't you?
Yeah, we don't get to see players like Kalvin Phillips very often. So no, I've followed Phillips from. I remember going to see Leeds under, God, what was that manager you had? Thomas Christiansen. And you sort of, there was no 25, 30 million pound central midfielder there. So it is literally a transformation and playing in that system. And you look at it from Phillips' perspective as well. It must almost be a little bit nerve-wracking for him, because he's like, I've got to go out and do this now without Bielsa. And having that framework around him and being so important, look at it from his point of view. And then, you've got Maguire and Kane, and he's got to rise up to those players. And I think his rise has been fantastic.
I think he's done really well. And it's just down to, like I said, it's the coaching staff at Leeds. I mean, you got to look at it that Leeds, you obviously, as being a specialist of the championship, you've seen our rise, but most people have just seen Bielsa, but this was for the last 2 years, this was a plan in the making for Leeds United. It's just not happened overnight, has it, Ben?
I just want to say one thing though, and Leeds fans will be. Leeds fans are often upset about stuff, aren't they? Leeds fans will be upset if Phillips doesn't start in the Euros. But if he's behind Jordan Henderson, the Premier League winning, European Cup winning captain, and Declan Rice, who's a very useful, good physicality, gets around the pitch, who's going to finish in the top 6, that's no slight on Kalvin Phillips. If he doesn't,
no, it isn't.
If he doesn't start behind those two. And I think, look, he's probably ahead of Bellingham. Purely on the basis he plays in this country, which should maybe not be the reason. Ward-Prowse is so useful for the set plays, but Phillips, I think, is ahead of Ward-Prowse. And he's ahead of Winks and Maitland-Niles. And I think Maitland-Niles was only in the squad to play left wing-back anyway. So, Look, I think it's 3 players for possibly 2 central midfield positions, and I think Phillips is one of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good shout. And I think for him to be anywhere near the Euros, is a wonderful achievement.
Brilliant.
And if Leeds finish mid-table, that's fantastic news all round. So he's done well in a mid-table side, and to get into the England team, it's all good. But like I said, I was just going to say, so with yourself, you've seen Leeds progress under Bielsa. This has taken certain bit of time, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about Leeds United, if we can, because we're facing one of your dearly departed teams, Sheffield United, and it's we're going to be facing Heckingbottom, because Heckingbottom's in charge now, isn't he? Because Chris Wilder's been sacked. Now it's going to be
mutual consent, allegedly. Mutual consent.
Sorry, yes. Mutual consent, yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see, because this was, like I was saying, 2 years in the making with Bielsa, and most of the team, Heckingbottom. We're going to see this, all these people have been saying, oh, Bielsa's a myth, this, that, the other. You're going to see this coach that we had before, Heckingbottom, and you're going to see Bielsa. They're going to come together, and it's going to be interesting to see how these boys play, because most of these players, apart from Patrick Bamford, wasn't in Heckingbottom's team really, but we had the likes of Luke Ayling, Liam Cooper, Meslier wasn't there, you've Kalvin Phillips, Alioski, Dallas. All these people were under Heckingbottom. It's going to be interesting to see Sheffield United under Heckingbottom.
It's just
your thoughts.
It's just a bit sad where Sheffield United is going into this, because it was a really good rivalry, and it's almost like from a championship point of view, the Villa Leeds rivalry is really alive and really fiery, from judging by the comments on my YouTube videos. But it's just a shame, and I know there's Yorkshire pride, but I know you Leeds fans, you want the Yorkshire teams in the Premier League, don't you? You want the Yorkshire derbies, and I was there. Would you believe? Don't slay me in the comments. I was in the away end. Someone managed to get me a ticket in the away end for the Basham arriving game when Sheffield United, did that number on Leeds, and to get there into second place. It was incredible run by them to get promotion, and then the ninth place finish last season, and then it's just inertia and perfect storm, and everything's gone wrong. And sadly, for Sheffield United, you kind of look at the game and you think, this is not a good time to play Leeds. If there's one team who are not going to give you an afternoon off. I should also have one of those I saw Leeds play under Heckingbottom t-shirts, because I don't know how many games he had, but I remember being at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And I think you lost. I think maybe that 2-1, 1-0 it would have been. I think Steve Bruce would have been
1-0. Steve Bruce was in charge. It was at Villa Park.
Did Lewis Graben score? I can't remember. I can't remember much about the game, to be honest. Like lots of games I've been to, but I saw Leeds play under Heckingbottom. And look, we've all seen the Amazon documentary. As soon as there was a chance that Victor Orta could get Bielsa, then Heckingbottom was done, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was. I mean, when I looked at it, I mean, I've been a Leeds fan since the late 80s, and it just wasn't the right fit. As soon as I read, maybe it's a snobbery thing as a Leeds fan, but it's when
you didn't want the Barnsley manager.
Barnsley manager linked with the Leeds hot seat. It was just one of them, Ben. That it was, anybody. I mean, we were linked with. We're always linked with Mick McCarthy. And I think at that time, Mick McCarthy was one of your. Was
he was at Ipswich, yeah.
And that's the thing. You see, it was like Heckingbottom came out of left field, and I thought, oh no, what is going on?
Remember that Barnsley team was good, and they sold Hurahan and Winnall and Bree, and
Hamill. Did they have a guy called Hamill?
They did, yeah. And they sold all the players, and then Heckingbottom. It's a shame, really, because it's the worst thing he ever could have done was go to Leeds, wasn't it? It's all gone. But of course, when when that job comes up and you're a football manager, you've got to take it, haven't you? Because if you get it right at Leeds, you're made as a manager, aren't you?
Yeah, you do. The thing was, but I thought it was just, because prior to, Heckingbottom's going to be in with the likes of Hockaday, you see. That's the thing, you see. He's going to be always held in that. Even Steve Evans done better than Heckingbottom, and Steve Evans was one of them.
Gillingham are doing well at the moment, actually, though. He gets a tune out of certain teams, Steve Evans, doesn't he?
He does. And there's levels, isn't there? There's a Barry Fry level of football coaching, and then there's the elite coaching as well. And then you've got other managers who are good at certain levels. That's what I'm trying to say.
McCarthy, Warnock, etc.
Warnock, Warnock. He tried for Leeds and it didn't work, did it? It just did not work at all. And but some of the managers, we talk about Leeds' managerial appointments in the last 10 years or so. It's going to be difficult, but it's going to be interesting to see this game from that's coming up because the way Heckingbottom was with us, and but let's see. It should be a good game. I'm just glad that the Premier League's coming back. Because us Leeds fans, we when we don't see Bielsa, it's just doesn't do anything for us.
Bielsa withdrawal symptoms.
We do.
Do you know what, Jinder? Someone said to me, and I was streaming. I was doing the England game yesterday. Someone said, if Southgate goes, who's your next England manager, Ben? And I thought for about 3 seconds, and I went, Bielsa. We'll take Bielsa as the England manager. He did Chile and Argentina, didn't he? So, hey, imagine that. Imagine that he passes on Leeds to someone and goes and manages England, eh?
I know. That will be. It has happened before. There has been, Don Revie, our great manager, left Leeds to go to.
He's a dreadful England manager as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he did. Well, I can't say anything against the Don. But that was the period. Oh, he was an amazing Leeds manager, wasn't he? But that was the period where we didn't qualify for. You didn't. No, we didn't.
Like a decade, wasn't it? Between 74, 76, 78, 80, and then we qualified in 82, I think.
We qualified in 82 and in 86. That's when we got Bobby Robson, Ipswich.
Need to take an Ipswich manager. And of course, the two greatest ever England managers were both Ipswich managers.
Bobby Robson, and who was the other one?
Sir Alf Ramsey.
There you go.
There you go.
Look at that. Look, you know what? The international game is fantastic. It's great when we play in the tournaments. I think the lead up to it, it's sometimes we get the matches like San Marino and San Marino. Come on, that game.
It's difficult, isn't it, Jinder? You're covering Premier League this season. I'm covering Championship, and you get a good narrative every week, don't you? However, in international football, and this is why the England manager's job, is so tricky, is that you go from this, essentially second-tier players playing a low block against you to Thomas Muller in Germany within two games. It's complete chalk and cheese. There's no pyramid to it, is it?
There is none, and I do feel sometimes it is a bit difficult for Gareth Southgate, and the one thing I was watching the San Marino, just touch on it, the San Marino game. It was just like I felt like even myself, I could have had a go against them. It's difficult for teams like that to come and play against England because you can't really judge the players there because the level is we are so much better, and that's where just wanted to say about Patrick Bamford. If he had played against San Marino, it would have been a good confidence booster for him. With Watkins getting that goal against San Marino, it's a great confidence booster for him as well. How did you find Watkins playing in the international setup? Who did you think? Do you reckon Bamford should have got a nod?
Well, look, this is a tricky one for me because I have a lot of Leeds subscribers and I have a lot of Villa subscribers. And ever since we had, the great 3-2 game at at Villa Park and Kemar Roof scoring in the last minute. And then, would it have been the same season? Yeah, it would have been the same season. The
infamous goal.
The infamous, I was at both games actually. The infamous goal, and then all of that business between Click and El Ghazi and Bamford. There's been a bit of a rivalry between the two clubs. So look, let's just say it very, very sensibly. England are not going to play two up top. They're going to play one up top, and that will be Harry Kane. So we're talking about two players who, look, as championship YouTuber, this is brilliant for me. Watkins and Bamford, I love it. Fantastic. But it's going to be Kane, and then it's going to be Calvert-Lewin, and then it's going to be Ings, and then it's Watkins and Bamford. But look, it was a flip of a coin, and if he picks Watkins, all the Leeds fans are frustrated. If he picks Bamford, all the Villa fans are frustrated. In the great Ipswich 2000-2001 season, where we finished 5th, Marcus Stewart was the top English scorer in the Premier League, and Michael Ricketts got picked ahead of Marcus Stewart. And I've interviewed Marcus Stewart and asked him about it, and it is something that sticks with you. I dare say Leeds won't do what Ipswich did and then immediately get relegated the next season, and Marcus Stewart is no longer a Premier League player. I think Pat Bamford will be a Premier League player for a long time. But going forward, you would think maybe Ings, has got less seasons in the Premier League ahead of him than he has behind him. You've got to then factor in someone like Tammy Abraham as well. It's a good challenge between Abraham and Watkins and Bamford. And obviously, you've got this world-class Harry Kane ahead of all of them. So it's just keeping the goals coming. And let's be honest, again, like you said about Phillips, I was there at Birmingham when Pat Bamford should have scored a hat-trick and he's missing chances. And the Leeds fans, come on, own up. We're going, get him out of the team, get Tyler Robertson up front and give him a go. And so Bamford's done brilliantly. And to be in the conversation is great. Would have been lovely for him to get in the squad, wouldn't it? And he probably would have scored if he'd come on, because like you said, San Marino were the arse end of atrocious, weren't they? So,
but we've got some decent players in decent positions. It's the first time in it, I think, in England's history that we have got a squad. We've got a squad that if, players are injured or this, that, the other, we've got lots of choices at right back. Because look at Trent Alexander, phenomenal player, and even he didn't get into this particular squad, but there are choices to be made, and there are Luke Ayling was linked with an England call-up.
That's hard, isn't it? Look, Reece James, Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Luke Ayling is a good English right back at the wrong time, isn't he?
Yeah. But look at this guy again. Brilliant. Coming from the lower leagues, and this is the way it should be done.
Most of the season as well, hasn't he?
He did, yeah. We've chopped and changed, but he's very durable, as you know. The Leeds team is very, very durable with positions. We, even on the pitch, we don't play. Alioski, when he came to us, when Christensen signed Alioski, and he was a left winger, wasn't he?
I remember. Well, the game I referenced, Leeds won 3-2. It was a really good game actually, and it was Alioski, Saiz, and Hernandez were playing off. Who was that big German forward you had? Lasogga?
Lasogga,
yeah. That was the front four.
Couldn't score though, could he?
He scored against Ipswich though, didn't he? Of course he did.
Oh yeah. Was that you guys went down? You guys went down in 2018, didn't you? 2018.
Yeah, we went down in 18-19. That would have been 17-18, and we always beat you at Portman Road. Even with Bielsa, we somehow managed to beat you at Portman Road, which is weird dead rubber at the end of the season. And Kemar Roof fell over when he took a penalty. How we won that game, I've got no idea. But
the 17-18 season, I think we had two players sent off at Portman Road.
Yeah, O'Kane got sent off. Yeah, you always get someone. We had Luke Chambers sent off, didn't we? In that weird dead rubber game. It's just one of those strange things. You always see, and we always open up a few more extra stands because Leeds always bring sort of 3,500 even.
Yeah.
And I think, because you remember, not wanting to bring back bad memories, but that was the hot ticket, wasn't it? That was the ticket all the Leeds fans wanted, because that could have been the game where you got promoted, and all the hotels had sold out, hadn't they? And then of course the Easter weekend, wasn't it? And the defeat to Wigan and the defeat against Brentford as well. Yeah.
That was. This is the thing, you see. I think this is where all these rivalries started, because in that season, I honestly thought, and this is me being not a Leeds fan, but what I'm going to say is Sheffield United and Villa had a game in March, and that really catapulted their season, especially for Villa. They went on like a 15-game run or something.
They won 10 on the trot. It's unheard of, yeah.
And that sort of reignited Sheffield United as well. Leeds were, after that game against the first game that you talked about with Bielsa, Stoke, Leeds versus Stoke, this is when I knew something. As soon as Leeds appointed Bielsa, I felt something inside my stomach. Yeah, I thought, because I've known of this chap, and to get somebody like that just brings confidence into your fan base and to the players as well. It's not Michael Hickenbottom. That's Shawn Michaels, that is. That's his real name. Anybody who don't know about the WWE, the Heartbreak Kid, I'm a big fan of Shawn Michaels, and I know Ben, you are as well, aren't you?
Oh, I love it. That was my teenage years watching Monday night Raw. I used to watch it on a Friday night with my friend Adrian. We used to have to wait the whole week. No Twitter then to find out what had gone.
Watch it on Friday.
What's going to say about that 18-19 season though, Jinder? Yeah. And believe me, I've studied a lot of Championship. That was a hell of a hard Championship. That was Farke's Norwich with Buendia and Pukki, who were brilliant. Wilder's Sheffield United, who were brilliant. Leeds under Bielsa, who were brilliant. Villa with Grealish, who were brilliant. West Brom had Barnes, Gale and Rodriguez for the first half of the season as well. Pulis had parachute money still at Borough. And then you had Lampard at Derby, had Wilson, Mount and Tamori on loan. That was a really tough Championship season, that one. And
one of the best seasons, I thought, in the Championship, because
it was incredible. Obviously, my team was atrocious and stunk out the league, so it was hard to enjoy it. But looking back now, when you see all of those teams and you compare it to this season, where sort of Norwich are tearing away with it, and I mean, even the last season when you guys went up, and it was just a sense, look, Leeds are really good, and there's not a lot behind it, and you end up winning it by 10 points.
That's it. I mean, this is what I was saying. So, like, when we got Bielsa in, and coming from what we had, Heckingbottom and Christensen, this was such a step up for us. And then the way we played in that season, we should have went up. It should have happened for us, because we were sort of leading. We were in the top. We were number one at Christmas. The Villa game that you talk about, leading top of the league, and it was just one of them things that towards the end it just sort of capitulated, and the season.
And a lot of other good teams in the league, like I just pointed out as well.
And absolutely correct, Ben. Everybody got onto that run, that momentum, and that Villa and Sheffield. I remember that game specifically because I was at a gig, and behind me they had the screen on. So we're
was it the 3-3?
The 3-3.
I was there. Yeah, I was there.
Well, you were there. I had a gig, and it was like a Villa sort of establishment, shall we say?
Villa were tailing right off at that point, but then as soon as Grealish and Sheffield United, you're right, took it as a massive kick up the backside. But you knew with Villa, as soon as Grealish came back in, that it was going to trend. We didn't think they'd win 10 on the trot as soon as he returned, but it was an incredible season. But it's one of those where we had the same thing at Ipswich, where we failed and failed and failed, but that all led up to, you're almost better for it. And even though it's heartbreaking at the time, Leeds were better for it, weren't they? And, went on and dominated and won the title the next season.
Yeah, I think the season. I think it worked in a blessing in disguise for us because it gave us that that 1 year of getting used to Marcelo, and then and I mean, look, last season we won the league very, very easily, very comfortably, and okay, there was a break, there was that circuit breaker for lockdown, but that didn't. We were on form. That actually hindered us.
But Jinder, you look at the Premier League and teams that come up. It's very, very helpful. A team like Leeds have been winning for 2 years instead of one as well. When they get to the Premier League with a pattern of play entrenched, and you've been winning basically for 2 years. Won a hell of a lot of games to go into this season now, and that really helps. It's all lovely being Huddersfield and having a flash in the pan season and getting up, but then what is there to keep you there afterwards? And sometimes it's the teams that miss out and build up over a few seasons, or teams that go right through. I've seen Watford, Manchester City, Norwich, Sheffield United, nearly not consecutive seasons, but go keep their League One winning momentum and go all the way through to the Premier League. So I think it is, even though I was sat there at Ellen Road in that Derby playoff game, even though it was, although Leeds fans made me laugh actually, because as who got sent off? Berardi got sent off, didn't he? And there was this kind of acceptance then of, and they went into this sort of gallows humour of, oh, it's Leeds. We knew they'd mess it up in the end or whatever. And they were all very kind of good-humoured, all the people around me. And they were like, well, we'll be back again next season. And then, so that I think, although there was heartbreak there, I think they took it in the right spirit. And certainly a lot of people sat around me that night.
You know what? Marcelo's brought so much happiness. He really has, because I know we were on the cusp of it with Gary Monk. We nearly got into the playoffs. We finished 7th again. We messed up.
Chris Wood,
Chris Wood, and that was another Easter sort of breakdown that we had, and so I'm just glad to be out of the Championship. I mean, this season there's no Easter breakdowns. There's nothing. There's no need for playoffs or anything like that. It's quite relaxing. It's only Manchester United, Arsenal, Man City. Not Arsenal, Liverpool in April. There's nothing to be scared of, so it isn't too bad. But the Championship has a different sort of pressure altogether. It's such a difficult league to get out of. 46 games. It's it is really, really hard. But I think this is why we've done well in the Premier League this season, because the Leeds players are used to playing Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesday, where a lot of the Premier League teams is like, oh no, it's a condensed season because of the pandemic. And that's where the problem has happened, I think, with certain teams. That's why we're having such a topsy-turvy, you could say, a Championship season. Anybody can beat anybody. Would you agree, Ben?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I always think the Championship, so the Premier League is like a thoroughbred flat horse race, where the best team wins. The Championship is the Grand National, where you have to do 2 laps. It's twice as long as everything else, and the hedges are twice as high, and it's just mental. And you can fall off your horse on the first fence, and you're done, and you're out for this. It's not going to happen. So it's just the slog of the Championship. But it does prepare you certainly, and then you get those elite teams that they're able to churn it out in the Champions League as well at that level. Presumably, Leeds will be aspiring, if Mr. Bielsa stays for another 4 or 5 years, to work towards into that top half.
I know, but he's getting on a bit. He's like he's our favourite granddad, isn't he? At that age. And let's hope he can. I just hope he can just end his career with us. And take. I'll have 5 years of him after. It's fine.
Well, the one thing is for certain, though, is that with someone like him, the second you think that it's all comfortable and he's there, he'll ride off into the sunset and surprise you. That's the one thing you know about that guy. He'll he'll be in the middle of a really good run towards the end of the season, and he'll just say, "My work is done," and pack up. You just know it won't be the way you think it's going to be, because he's just that kind of sort of romantic narrative that's just followed him all the way through his career, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'll just tell you something a little bit, because I'm into fairy tales and stuff like that. I like to live life like that. And next season, well, the season that's coming up, it's the 21-22 season. 30 years ago, Leeds won the league in 91-92 with the likes of McAllister, Batty, Speed.
Oh, what a midfield!
Strachan.
Yeah,
top midfield, eh? And
I would say you're looking at Beckham, King, Giggs, and Scholes, and Parla, Vieira, Petty, Overmars. I bracket that midfield. That's just awesome, isn't it? That one.
If you look at it as a British midfield,
yeah,
it had all the, because us as British players, or British football used to be, they can't, there isn't that much flair, there isn't creativity. We get all these kind of, can they play football or not?
Oh yeah, and Jinder, Howard Wilkinson getting called a long ball merchant when he's way ahead of his time, tucking Speed in, and Strachan goes in and plays number 10. Fullbacks forward, clever, very clever. Yeah.
The game I watched, and we're just getting off a little bit, is the first game that I watched as an 11-year-old. Got into Villa Park, and Leeds played Villa, and it was 4-1 in that season. And that was a game where Leeds was just electric. Strachan and was just magnificent, and it was aired on ITV. And that was the first time that the national sort of TV.
I'd like to see that, actually. Is that on YouTube anywhere?
Yeah, you've got to see it, Ben.
Yeah, link me up. I'd like to watch that. Yeah.
Yeah. Leeds won 4-1, and it was, we had Chapman. He scored diving header. Sterling.
We had Chapman at Ipswich when he was over the hill, actually.
Yeah, there was a lot. I'm going to come on to you now, Ben, because you're like an enigma, I think, because not many people know, because you say such wonderful words about Leeds, Villa, so many other teams that, we know. I know that you're an Ipswich fan.
Just love my football, Jinder.
Yeah,
that's it.
But let me ask you a few questions, just if you don't mind, because it's good to know. You've been on YouTube. I mean, how long have you started this YouTube journey?
Well. So I was doing an Ipswich podcast from sort of 2015, and then you know what it's like. You follow the trends with the technology. Then all of a sudden, people are doing match reviews and things. So we thought we needed it for our Ipswich podcast. So I had no intention of doing it myself. So we put an advert out, and it was, can someone make some content for our podcast, and it'll go down the YouTube arm. And this guy applies. Great. He's going to do it. And then, like, about 2 days before the season started, he's like, Ben, I don't think I can do it. I see some of the comments people get, and I don't think it's for me. And you're kind of like, cool, thanks for being honest with us, blah, blah, blah. Someone needs to do it. I better do it myself. So we go to this pre-season friendly against Charlton, Ipswich at Charlton. Charlton are in League One, Ipswich with Mick McCarthy. And I'm going to do the match review. And we lose 6-1. And it's the perfect thing that could have happened, because everyone loves a train wreck, don't they? So I make this video, Charlton 6, Ipswich 1. And it just snowballed from there, really. And then, like you say, I started to do other teams, and just really lucky. I went to Reading versus Cardiff, and it was 2-2, and Cardiff scored in the 95th minute, and Warnock got sent off. And you get to talk about that and loads of it. And then I went to the next one was I went to Sheffield Wednesday 0, Wolves 1, and Ruben Neves smashed one in from like 25 yards, and Wolves were coasting at the top of the league. So I got a bit lucky with a few of the first videos where I've got really good stories and learned, and like get to meet people like yourself where you're following the league, and what's a good story? Here come Leeds charge. I'm going to go and watch Leeds this week. I'm going to go and watch, and then you're meeting different people, and different fan bases. And do you know, the worst thing about it was that you'd, for example, that season, make tons of friends with Sheffield United fans, and then they're gone. Up into the Premier League, they go. That's why I started the Dearly Departed thing, to kind of keep it going. No, and it's been really, really, really good. And like you said, my calling card hopefully is can look at it all balanced. And as much as we love the emotion of football, football fans can be jealous and they can be resentful and overly emotional. And I try and, see past all of that, that type of stuff that we get in the space. And hopefully it comes across well. And let's be honest, if your team's winning, you love nothing more than hearing someone saying, I went and watched Leeds. It was incredible. You have to go and see them, So, that's the way it's gone.
No, I think you've done an incredible job, Ben. I mean, I remember watching your stuff, and it kept me so entertained. Because I'm like yourself. I'm a singer and a musician, and you're the same. As I can see your keyboard at the back as well, which is lovely. Just would love to do a gig now, because seeing that we're in this, us musicians, we're just itching to do something. And but good times are coming, and we just need to still stick in there and keep doing what the government's saying. But it's so refreshing to see, your channel, and it has that unbiased approach, and you've got a nice way of doing it. And these are the things that I brought into my Loco Leeds football channel, because and the rise of it isn't due to us making the content. Obviously it is, but it's the people out there. It's the fans. I mean, the fans of football for your side of things, but the fans of Leeds. And we've got.
I was just going to say that there's nothing wrong with a partisan football channel. There's absolutely. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that everyone has to sit there like me and try and. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a very pro Leeds, fan channel. It's just. It's just I sit in the middle of it as a detached observer, and then try and be very moderate when I do Ipswich.
But that's the beauty of your channel, and it's somewhere where you can go and enjoy it. And I always say, and the people who are watching this video, check it out, Benjamin Bloom's football channel on YouTube. It's really, really good.
And that's really flattering that you say that, Jinder, because there's a few people have said, I've watched this video and I've watched that video. I just came across here just to get your take, just to check that, they weren't all either too positive or too negative, because we know, Ben, you'll call it down the middle, hopefully. So that's the plan.
That's what it's all about. I mean, with my stuff, I mean, I take on board, and I always I don't go out shouting. We have a no swearing policy on the channel, because just the way we want to perceive our channel. And I even try and on the reviews and everything, I try to keep it, where there's credit to be given, there is credit. Sometimes it's football. Football's a very unpredictable game. You've got to call it the way you see it, and that's where we've done really, really well. I mean, we've on the Loco, we've picked up 2,500 subscribers almost. We need to get to that target. So please, anybody who's watching, sub and like the channel and share and all this kind of stuff for the video. But it's down to the fans who actually tune into our content. That's what makes YouTube grow, and it's such a good thing that we've got this platform to do our stuff. And especially now in the lockdown period, us as musicians, we need creative outlets, don't we? But Ben, I'm conscious about the time. We've been going on for 45 minutes.
And the people putting the floor in have not turned up yet. Sorry, just to break the fourth wall here completely. I made Jinder do this way earlier than we said, because I'm expecting, we're having the carpet taken up next door to this room. And if I do this, you'll see it's not a very thick wall, and it would have been very noisy. So thank you for accommodating me. And by the way, neither Jinder or I are preaching. Anyone can watch football how they choose to do it. And if you want to rant and rave and scream and shout and not know who the opponents are, then so be it. But there is a place in the space for both sides of it. And we love the partisanship and the screaming and the shouting and the incredibly biased pro or for or against content, but yeah, I've always tried to, at least when I'm at a game, know who all the opponent's players are, and if they smash one in the top corner, say to whoever I'm with, give finish that one, won't it?
Yeah. It is. You've got to look at it. Football. I mean, look at Marcelo Bielsa. If you've noticed, he doesn't come out and blame VAR because we've had a few dodgy decisions.
The Bamford one at Palace was ludicrous, wasn't it? I remember talking about that one at the time. Yeah.
Well, we've had a few since then. I don't know, Ben, if whether you
Yeah, I do sense a bit of angst from Leeds. I think they're ready to be annoyed by it because of the. There was a couple of ones I did. West Ham where they were annoying, but I think they were fair calls. And then the Ayling header against Fulham. I mean, by the letter of what we're doing, Tyler Roberts leaned offside, but then you're kind of saying my soul dies a little bit every time a goal is disallowed because the guy's feet are onside, but he leans to show. I forget who played it. It was Harrison played it through or something. He's leaning to show, look, I'm in if you play me in, and it's a bit soul destroying, isn't it?
It is. So the VAR needs to be looked at for next season. But like I said, it's Bielsa. He never complains. He never says anything about.
It's not going to change anything, is it?
No, it doesn't. He just takes it. So you've got to look at it like that. I mean, he doesn't. If our manager doesn't say it, if our manager doesn't scream and shout, then the channel that I've named my channel about it, sort of the philosophy goes in with me as well. But Ben, I'm gonna let's try and leave it there. So Ben, I know you've got a lot of fans out there on your YouTube channel. Can you just do you want to say anything to them?
Thank you. I'd love to. Yeah. So the Benjamin Bloom football channel. If you're a Leeds fan, we have dearly departed. The show's called. It's the teams that were in the Championship that have now got up and stayed in the Premier League. So we look at Leeds, we look at Villa, West Brom, Fulham and Sheffield United. So there's a chance we might still be looking at Fulham next season, but the other two are possibly gone. But hey, dear old Norwich, as an Ipswich fan, will be up next season and they'll join the dearly departed. And I know there's a bit of to and fro with Norwich and Leeds as well, with Norwich managing to pilfer a few good Leeds players when Leeds were, let's just say, not in an advantageous position to keep them over the years. So that's all going on over there, streams, and come and join us. Honestly, there's loads of Leeds fans subscribe. It's great. We've got a really good Leeds sort of slant to our subscriber base, which is great, and they've all been brilliant, really. And in terms of like contributing, even financially on the super chats and things like that, Leeds have been fantastic. And then at Benjamin Bloom on Twitter. And the website is www.benjaminbloom.co.uk. Excellent.
Guys, check it out. It's brilliant. He's one of my mentors, the great Mr. Miyagi.
This is the blind leading the blind, isn't it?
But Ben, absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us on the fanview at the Loco Leeds football channel. Guys, my name's Jinder Jade, and thank you as ever for watching the Loco Leeds football channel, the fanview. We're going to sign right out of here. Thank you. God bless. See you again.